Hello everybody, this is Solo-Anthem with the Laughing Dead. I'm going to be talking probably about next week or two. I'm going to be talking about invades, how to build decks, what you're looking for, common mistakes people make and stuff like that. Now, I had a player ask me last night about building a deck, something for invade that's real quick, real fast. They can get those trophies just rolling in and without spending hours on the battle and stuff. Now, there is decks you can set up out there that are just they're pretty strong and they can hold their own for a long time. There's a lot of buffs, but the problem with buff decks is unless you're going strictly for like the skull bashers, you know, at least 2 skull bashers, it's really not going to be effective to have a bunch of buffs going in there. Although you can do it where it's like, you got 3 cards buffing 1 and that card is pretty much OP. And there's ways to do that. Well, we'll go ahead and discuss that at a later date. But what I want to focus on today is pretty much a barrage deck or a bombardment deck, right? We'll stick with bombardment. It sounds better, right? So, now that we got the name down, let's focus on the deck. Now, I prefer using this style of deck. Now, I'm saying that now, but I could easily change styles and find something that I just fall in love with. Now, there's a lot of decks that you'll notice you put a deck together and you're excited because like the battles lasted 2-3 minutes, but it seems like the longer you use that deck, the longer the battles seem to get. I don't know why that is. I don't know if the game punishes you or the AI punishes you if you keep using the same deck. So it might get to a point where I rotate decks during battles, maybe 4 battles for this deck, 4 battles that deck. I'm not really sure how the AI program works, but I'm starting to really get suspicious of it because I notice the longer I use a deck, although it might be extremely overpowered at first, it seems like it gets weaker and weaker. Like the AI kind of gets a little smarter on you. Now, don't get me wrong, the AI is still stupid as shit. It's about as dumb as a box of rocks. But the AI will surprise you every now and then and do some shit that you're like, damn, man, I did not see that coming. So it does happen. And when it starts raining mana and skulls, it can really ruin your day, you know? So, let's go ahead and focus on this bombardment deck. Now, one thing I want to point out before I start when you're building your deck, unless you have 2 mana, 2 units generating mana, your bottom deck should not be one of them. So I'm putting my mana deck, my mana charger, on top. So this is a guy that's really feeding the mana to the rest of my guys, and I got +1, so he explodes 8 skulls and gains 3 armor. The +1 is because I got a level 10 kingdom I use him in. Alright. Now, a lot of players make the mistake of trying to get a kingdom pick for charging him. Don't do that unless you got another DPS card that is the same color value. You don't want to do that. Now, I could have went with purple on the kingdom. That would go ahead and fit with Atlanta. So purple and probably red would work just fine, but that's a clash in as far as colors and stuff. And I'm not getting in the way of taking gems away from a woman. I know how they love diamonds are their best friends, and I'll be danged if I'm going to step in between 2 friends like that. So I went ahead and went with the color combination of blue and white because I want those cards to get buffed first. And as we see here, deal 7 damage to all units, plus destroy 8 random gems. Again, another kind of mana generator, even though at a weaker level. I do not want it at the bottom. I want it at the top because most likely your top card is going to be the one getting taken out first. So you don't want your top DPS on top at first, right? You got 2 mana generators and you go top bottom, but in this case I only have 1, so I go straight for the top. I really do not prefer any of y'all put anything that generates mana at the very bottom. Alright, it can be effective, but if you're going to do that, you better have Gloom Leaf in your units, just weakening those opponents down, so the time that they do get to that bottom card, it's not going to make a difference. Okay, we're going with Atlanta here, is my 3rd choice for the bombardment team, and she does, again, +1, 7 damage to all units. Her mana really generates pretty quickly. I'm not too worried about that. Other bombardment cards out here you can use. The reason I'm not going with like the flame cannon, because as you see, it is red and white and it just clashes. It's not going to work appropriately. And all the mana that it would get would go to the top cards. It would take too long to generate this. So what I did is I did decide to use my hero in this case. Now, usually all your bombardment spells or weaponry is going to be purple. But in this case, if you do the quest line appropriately, you're going to end up with War and Peace. And he does 6 damage to all enemies. And he gives the extra bonus of raising the attacks fight too. So my guys get attack buff, which really do that one time, and it really does help out, especially when you're working with such a team as do a lot of this bombardment. Now you see there is nice weapons out there, but they're all purple, and again, it conflicts with Atlanta. I'm sorry, Atlanta. Oh, my throat today. So it kind of, with that gym conflicts or mana conflicts, it's really not recommended to do that. You want to kind of be independent. You can have one color that matches, but you want to have that independent on there. You never want to have too many cards with the same color, unless you got 2 mana generators. You really want to stay away from that. There's nothing wrong with it. Just be aware you do want to have all 6 colors represented in your unit. And I'm really sorry about my voice. So Karnex, when he does blow up the board, is almost like having Cerberus here. There's almost like a 25% chance when he takes out all them skulls, they're going to come falling down and they're going to be bulked up. So there's a lot of times I get a critical hit with skulls after I use Karnex. So even though it's small when it happens, you're like, you know, whoopee, you know what I mean? It's pretty nice to go ahead and just wipe out a card with one hit. Especially if you do it on the first or second round. The card's out of the way and you can move on. So although you could theoretically have a mana generator at the bottom, and that could happen, again, I don't recommend it. I would not, under any circumstance, do that. It's not appropriate, right? Again, you have 2 mana generators, one at top, one at bottom. Alright. So, before we get to the battle and I explain how this unit works in battle, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the leaderboard. I am happy that our clan is now 63. Time done with this, it'll probably be 64. Again, still within that tag range, still at the our trophy range, still at the 7,400. Like I said, it's going back, it's staying in between 7.3 to 7.5. So neither one of us really gaining here. They're holding us down. We're keeping them back. Whichever the case is, it's not really no gains on either one of our parts. We still got players that are on downtime right now. Stone Vengeance, same thing. They're pretty much keeping up with trophies at the same rate. So all three, top 3 are pretty much moving at the same pace right now. Nobody's got an edge. Soon as somebody gets an edge and starts making a break, the other 2 will probably go ahead and counter on it. Fire Chaos Style has come up out of nowhere and popped up in 4th place. Now, I'm very interested to see what they do. They're actually coming up pretty fast, but again, I think they're about the same pace or less. I haven't really been paying too much attention to it. I will be paying more attention in the future. So, Natural Sunshine still not out of the game. I would probably recommend that they go ahead and recruit more people. But I think he said they're pretty much just casuals. So they're for casuals and not a whole PvP alliance. That's pretty damn good. And then of course you got Misguided Misfits. All right. They're doing all right. They're coming up, and I will keep an eye on them in the future. I think they will be a potent team. I see that they do recruit quite rapidly or aggressively, so they have no problem dropping a lot of players and replacing them. I see other alliances down below that are trying to be more competitive, doing the same thing. It's not a bad move, especially in this game if you're with a group where you don't know the players. Now, Stone Vengeance and the Laughing Dead both have a lot of players we know and communicate with all the time. We've known for a while. Pew Pew, they're putting together a nice group of the top players, and so it's quite a show. It's quite a battle going on right there. So, but let's go ahead and move on to this battle. Explain do's and don'ts, what kind of mistakes. We're just gonna pick a player here for revenge. This will probably be my first battle today. Let's go. Here we go. See if I get one. I think I'm familiar with him. Yeah, he's got a very basic setup. Now, the setup's real nice because his cards generate quickly and aggressively. So they're able to get the attacks in so they can do quite a bit of damage. And it looks like he went for everything from a barrage to mana generator to quick attack. Alright, so let's go ahead and start. The first thing I kind of want to go for is like the red and purple, but if I see the skull opportunity or 4 of a kind, I'm definitely going to take it. Now, I'm going to make several mistakes in this battle, but let you know it is on purpose. I'm not really playing this battle as aggressively as I usually do. And that's so you can see how, even with mistakes, this team is pretty deadly. Alright? So, right now, I just want to get the red, I want to get the purple, I want to get them charged as quick as possible. Alright, so now he's charged up, I'm ready to go. Now, if you look, Atlantia, she's charged up too. Now, usually if I didn't get skull bashed to death there, I would not use him first, I'd use her. But because he's damaged, I know he's probably going to, good chance getting taken out. I'm going to go ahead and use him now and get him out of the way. Get that little armor buff on him, which is going to be a huge help. And of course, every time I see skulls, I'm going to take advantage of the skulls early on in this match. Now, it's okay for him to use skulls on you, but early on in this match, I want to go ahead and take advantage of it. So let's go ahead and lay waste. We'll do 7 damage to everybody. It's going to generate a little mana there. As you see, everybody's on the brink of gaining them. I usually would use Atlantia first again, but I thought the circumstances was better for me to go ahead and just do that bombardment. Try and get Carnex to get one more, because this is what I'm worried about. Like I said, the skulls come down and he takes a lot of damage. Now, one more hit, he's dead. If somebody does a barrage, he's dead. So there's a lot of situations where he can die. Now, I would not get the red and purple at this point. It's too risky. But because it's green here, I can move it up. I got my hero charged, and I got him charged. So even if he gets lucky and gets the skulls, I'm good to go. I got at least one of the cards charged. And as you can see here, he does happen to get the skulls. Now he goes ahead and gets the bonus turn, gets a skull, knocks me out, gets an S skull, knocks into my character again, skull bashing. I'm going to go ahead and use War and Peace here to take out his top card, weaken the bottom 2 cards to the point where I use Atlantia and she'll take out the bottom 2 cards. He does his barrage, so we're going to switch up here. So getting mana at this point would be absolutely ridiculous. I do not see no 4s, so we're going to go ahead and wipe out the bottom 2 cards. Now it's 3-on-1. That card right there is DPS, of course, but the DPS is low, but it's spread out, so I can only take so many hits. So I think in this fight he actually does get one more attack in. And as you see, he is gathering a lot of mana very quickly. And this does happen. So, now normally I'm getting blue and black right now. I would not normally do that. Basically, I'd focus on Atlantia and my hero at this point, because I'm worried about my card getting wiped out with either collection of skulls or something that would pretty much, or a bombardment, double bombardment, or the bombardment then the skulls. So as you see, he did get a bombardment in there. Now I'm going to make a huge mistake here and take the blue, and this is why you don't do that. So now if I went for the white or purple, she would have been ready to go, and I went ahead and deal with that. I could go ahead and do my attack and then just try to wait for a skull combination. I could still just wait for a skull combination like I do here, but that's another mistake. If you go ahead and you're buffing your cards for an attack and you got one card that's low, go for the card that's in the bottom, below it, to do the DPS. But I'm going to get up out of here, man. I will talk to y'all in the next video, and take it easy. That's pretty much the basics there. Alright, later.